alerts. Seven tournaments down. $1 million prize still to go. The target, the mighty billfish.
I'm taking it. Nice fish, buddy. Great tag fish.
The top angling teams in North America look to raise their flag off the New England Cape to prove they have what it takes to catch and release the kings of the Atlantic.
Yeah, baby.
It's not easy. They just make it look that way. Stop number 8 of the Sport Fishing Championship from Martha's Vineyard kicks off right now.
Yeah, baby. Oh, yes. There's another one there in the freezer.
This is the Sport Fishing Championship.
And we are kicking off stop number 8 of 10 of the Sport Fishing Championship live from Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. We're out on the Cape, a beautiful scenery, a great setting for the 8th stop of 10 of the Sport Fishing Championship. We will crown a champion at the end of the season, and it is just about a month away. Robbie Floyd with Peter Miller here with you on what is commonly referred to as vacation territory, but it is big billfish territory as well, and we'll be talking about that, Peter.
That's right, Robbie. You had mentioned that we're looking for the king of the sea. We're actually looking for the queen. The females are the big blue marlin, and those are the ones we want. The males stop at about 450, 500. The females get a lot bigger, and that's the one you want. 350 points. First one gets an extra 100 points with the SFC.
Oak Bluffs Blue Water Showdown at Martha's Vineyard, taking off from 2 different venues, whether it be McDougal's or in Martha's Vineyards. But we are at McDougal's live and in person. We've been talking about how we've been wanting to come to these venues. What better facility than this place? McDougal's is unbelievable. 100 boats behind us. I'm ready to head out at any given second. But again, you either take off from McDougal's or out there on Martha's Vineyard. They all left at 12 o'clock this morning, and they'll be coming back at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon for the weigh-in for their respective event. I'm Robbie Floyd. This is the man between us. We have 3 World Sailfish champions, Peter Miller. And Peter, we've been talking about wanting to come to an event. We are finally here. It does not get any prettier than this.
I can't believe we're outside. We're normally in the studio. We're broadcasting everything live, and here we are at McDougal's. I just met the guy that runs the entire place, Tim Cohan, and we're having a great time. If you see the boats behind us, they're all polished up, ready to roll. A lot of the guys are out there fishing, looking for fish, and we actually have some fish caught already. Yes. There's a 130-mile radius where the guys are able to fish, and I believe they're probably right on that perimeter.
One of the first things that you talked about is you live in Florida now, but you come from this area and spent a lot of vacation years through here. The different type of boats that we're seeing behind us. I mean, there's different styles. I mean, down in your neck of the woods, they're a little bit different. Here, it's a different class of boats, a different style.
That's right. You know, you go to New Jersey, you see a ton of Vikings. You know, Vikings are very popular up there. They always have been. Ocean yachts, you know, they're built up there. The guys kind of stick with them. You come up to Cape Cod, you see a completely different breed of boats up here from A to Z, and it's just really nice to see. And all the boats are immaculately kept. That's something I noticed immediately when I got to McDougal's Marina, and I'm very impressed with the way these guys keep up their boats.
You know what I'm impressed with? The fish catches. We've already seen some alerts. Let's hear those alerts. You hear that, Peter? That's what we want to hear all day long today, right? I mean, this is our first time, our morning show. It was a little bit of a struggle last week. I'm not going to lie. You know it was. But we already have the team that won last week, Gypsy. They caught a yellowfin tuna and early this morning at 6:10 a.m. Now, it's uncharacteristic for our events, catching them that early, but they took off at midnight last night.
That's right. So it gave them a chance to kind of get in their position. So we've got bluefin tuna, we've got big eye, we've got yellowfin. I heard we got some wahoo, we've got blue marlin, we've got white marlin. We've got a lot to show you guys today.
As we've been working through these catch alerts, you might notice right there as we go to El Bendito, a white marlin at at 8:40 this morning. The Wahoo, could it be one of our championship winning fish? Another white marlin and our first blue marlin of the tournament. Lights out is just that. They are lights out at 8:10. They get an extra 100 bonus points plus the 350 for having the blue marlin itself. So we got it. We could check that box off. I'm so happy.
That's right. And what's really nice about what you're talking about is because we were in Cape May last week and it was Tuna Palooza.
Yes,
as you mentioned, and you actually called me Tuna. You were so into the tuna. You go, oh, how about you, Tuna? I'm like, Peter, Robbie, come on, let's get this straight.
I corrected it.
You did.
I corrected it really fast. Yeah, the South Jersey Yacht Sales Offshore Showdown was in Cape May just 1 week ago, and we had to call it Tuna Palooza because that's all they seem to be catching. They were out there looking for the billfish. They just weren't arriving. Here, it's a little bit different waters. They have a little bit wider radius to work with, but they had to stay within that 100-mile radius last week. And Team Gypsy, we saw them with multiple fish, and that's what led them to victory.
The New Jersey tournament, we did end up pulling out a win. It was very tough fishing with some good fishermen, and we got lucky there right at the end, getting a nice bite. And boy, if we could somehow pull this one off, this will be huge. This is an overall points tournament, and you have to have a wide spectrum of catches, and that all adds into the point total. And it makes for a little bit different of a tournament, but those guys who are great fishermen all around really shine through in this one for sure. So this tournament I've been fishing for about third year fishing it, but fourth year being around it. And the moon phase, for whatever reason, this week is just incredible. So every year, it's like out of this world. Every boat does great. You see a lot of action from wide spectrum, from billfish, white marlin, blue marlin, big eyes, yellowfin, albacore, tons of mahi. It's awesome. It's really world-class fishing up here for about the next month or so, and it's great that we get to put an eye on it. Glad to be here, get this tournament started. Just coming off a win in our last tournament there down in New Jersey, and we'd really like to keep it rolling. This is our kind of our backyard, the canyons out there where we're fishing for this tournament. We'll be a lot more comfortable in the spreads that we're fishing and the type of fish we're fishing for. The areas are more common to us. So hopefully that'll give us a little bit of a leg up. Everything's looking great out there. The edges are all lining up. It should be stellar fishing. So it should be a good one, hopefully.
And the 66-foot Viking Gypsy out of Rhode Island, Taylor Stanford, they're putting it to it, and we saw already a catch this morning. He said several things there, Peter, that you want to pay attention to. One of them was moon phase. It was getting right. Full moon was last night.
That's right, and that moon phase is very important when it comes to any kind of fishing. And then we have got the current, the color, the weeds, the bait, and that's what we're really focused on. But they have a big 130-mile radius.
Here's our championship points as it stands right now, quantified ahead of everyone. They fished down in the Gulf with 2 victories. That really propelled them. But Montcherie, Southern Charm, we'll see all of those teams for the most part down at South Padre Island. It's still anybody's championship, and we will pay out $1 million in Puerto Rico in 1 month's time. I'm looking forward to handing out that $1 million check. I don't know if I will or Mark Neifeld or you. I know I wouldn't give you $1 million to pass around.
I'll probably sneak into the picture. Anytime there's a big cardboard check with $1 million on it, I will sneak in and send that one to Mom and say, Mom, don't you think it's cool? Don't you love this?
Hey, what's cool is that 130-mile radius kind of opened it up just a little bit. Oak Bluffs Marina is the host, but again, they cannot fish outside that 130. But as we heard the other teams talking about, those canyons are right there. They're in that zone, and that Gulf Stream is bringing in these billfish. Now, the captain's meeting, they all have rules, and each and every stop, we're a partner with these local tournaments. And in the captain's meeting, they have to hear those rules because say you went 135 miles out, you just don't get a hand slap, you're probably DQ'd.
There are more tournaments lost by guys that didn't pay attention during the captain's meeting than I could count. Because I've fished probably 500, 600 tournaments in my career, and if you don't get somebody at that event that hasn't had a drink, that's listening up in front, not in the background talking about something else, you really need to know, and that could be the difference of winning or losing. And this tournament is a 4-day deal, but you fish 2. You pick 2 fishing days, and then you have 2 lay days.
Absolutely, and one team actually took off yesterday. There's Mark Neifeld, the commissioner of the Sport Fishing Championship. He's here this weekend and spoke with everyone. And all of our teams that are competing, they have things they deal with, and one of them was pick what days you want to fish. It's a 4-day event, but a 2-day tournament. Do I go day 1? Do I go day stay 1 and 2? Do I go 2 and 3, 3 and 4? There were a lot of options
Robbie,
for these guys.
That is a lot of combinations you just threw at me. And listen, the last day is a shorter day, so you better have a fast boat if you want to fish Saturday. You want to get out there and get back in.
And your team needs to have a cool name just like this one. We'll find out more of Team Filet of Fish when we return to the Sport Fishing Championship on sportfishingchampionship.com.
SFC coverage of the Oak Bluffs Blue Water Classic is sponsored by Seaholm Watches, by Smith Optics, and by Fish Razor.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in. Plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
Remember, everything begins in the morning. Every story told is a fisherman's tale. We build watches tough enough to be a part of that tale. The perfect balance of beauty and brawn. We are Seaholm. Watches that last a lifetime. Seaholm Automatic, the official timepiece of the Sport Fishing Championship.
Yeah, baby! That's what I'm talking about!
Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
See it, live it, love it. The largest in-water boat show in the world, the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. More than 3 million square feet, fishing boats to super yachts, engines, accessories, learning experiences, and culinary delights. Save the dates, October 26th through 30th. Details at flibs.com.
It all comes back to the water. This binding agent. This fluid history of connection. Past, present, and future, all tied together through this never-ending, unwavering force. We belong to a community of seekers, anglers, and everyone in between. For us, it's more than fishing, much more. It's who we are, who we were, and who we aspire to be. We are Smith.
SFC coverage of the Oak Bluffs Blue Water Classic is sponsored by Sword Fishing Products, by Publix, and by Yugo.
It's a great day for fishing out there on the waters. We're already seeing reports coming in, and one of our teams that are in the Sport Fishing Championship, Team Quantified, fishes in that Gulf Division, and it seems like every tournament, Peter Miller, was a great day for fishing or catching for them.
Thank you for saying my last name, Robbie. If you didn't say it, I wouldn't even respond.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that. Listen, they're catching blues, whites, sails, and they're doing it every single weekend that we see them. And they do it with a casual attitude, yet very precise with scalpel-like precision. You see them backing down in that glass calm water. You got that nice sail on the leader. Next one you're going to see is going to be a white marlin jumping next to the boat. And then they got the big blue right here that's pretty much going to rub onto the side of the boat, and they're going to have to buff that one out.
Yeah, they're going to have to get out the old the buffing machine. But the thing about Quantified is they're not just catching blues. Everybody wants to catch blues. If they need to, they'll catch a white. They'll catch a sailfish in there, and those points all add up to the title.
That's right. And how many tournaments have they won thus far?
2.
Exactly.
They won 2, and I got a 7th they're trying to get rid of. We're here in Martha's Vineyard. Let me just look how nice it is. You said you spent many a summer here in Martha's Vineyard around this area, right?
Every summer I came up for about 2 weeks with the family. That was our big summer vacation, and we used to fish for trout in this lake we stayed at. Then we went offshore, and we went for scup and fluke and flounder, striped bass, bluefish, all that stuff, and a bunch of guys were catching tunas. I didn't get one, but they got them.
You weren't the shopper. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things to do for guys and girls down there. We went through last night, the little town. It's very quaint. It kind of shuts down late. Things are done at a different pace here in Martha's Vineyard. Somebody let you cut in front of them on the road today in your car, and you're like, what were you thinking?
I thought he was trying to fight me. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't tell what was happening. He was basically letting me in, and then I let someone else in. It seems like kindness begets kindness, and I love that.
Well, I know a very nice gentleman I met yesterday, and he's responsible here at McDougall's Marina, one of our host sites at Martha's Vineyard, or just outside in Falmouth. Let's go on site with Site 1, and it's us on site with Site 1. We are here. We don't have to talk to Roddy Moore or any of the ladies out there, but I'd like to bring in Tim Cohen from McDougall's. And not only that, are you a director here at McDougall's, but you're also, is it the captain of Filet-O-Fish?
That's right, Rob. Thanks.
That's got to be a lot of weight on your shoulders this week when you have all these boats coming through here. It's going to be one of our sites for them to check in tomorrow, but also being a tournament competitor yourself.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We really like hosting the OBBC the last couple of years here with the weigh-in at McDougall's, and it's really been a great time.
This is a beautiful premises you have here. You're pretty much running a lot of this here. What would you call your title? What would you call yourself here?
Yeah, I've kind of managed the customer side of things here in the Marina. It's a great opportunity, awesome place to be, great team, and Falmouth's an awesome spot.
Your boy Peter was pointing out a lot of Boston whalers and stuff. You said there's over 100 boats that usually live here through the year. There's also dry dock during the winter. A lot of opportunities if they're coming and working their way through the Cape.
Oh, definitely. It's great. Yeah, 100 slips in the summer period, and we store about 200 boats in the winter. Big service yard and really fun spot.
Is Peter right? We've seen a lot of Boston whalers compared to other parts of the country.
Yeah, there's a large dealer in our area, but a lot of Grady Whites, regulators, Fahala, kind of a good mix of big center consoles lately, and also have some big traditional sport fish like Vikings you were talking about too, Peter, and it's a great mix of boats.
Yeah, so now when the guys leave this area, they leave McDougall's or they leave Oak Bluffs, how many miles are they typically running for this particular tournament? Has the water moved in, the good water moved in, or is it pretty much on that outer 130 perimeter? Where are they fishing?
It's pretty close to that perimeter. I think most boats will kind of end up right there, from the last buoy, the 130, 120 miles. They'll push right to that edge, it looks like, for the water in this tournament.
Do you guys find bluefin? Do you guys find bluefin tunas? You find more yellowfin? You find more blue marlin? What's going on this time of year?
There is a great bluefin fishery off Chatham. It's been really hot the last week or two, which is cool. Really neat to see some, great difference of size of class fish, some giants, but also some kind of mid-size school fish. But this tournament, most boats will head south. The kind of points are related to blue and white marlin, so everyone tries to go south to the canyons and make the most of their time.
Yeah, it's all easterly to get to that shelf, but as you mentioned, dropping south, that 100-mile or 130-mile barrier, those canyons, it's how the water really works in coming up from the Gulf. But what is the Labrador Current also has that cold water, and you're looking for that edge. I mean, that magic spot, and I'm here it's getting closer, and obviously we're seeing that with early catches this morning.
Yeah, it's great. It looks like a great eddy kind of swirling in those eastern canyons right on the edge like we talked about, and should be an awesome time out there.
Peter, one thing in talking with Tim yesterday was, remember us talking to a team last week? I said, I don't care if it's coming from the south or north. I just want an easterly wind, right?
Yeah, he wanted to push that water. He wanted to push that weed. He wanted to bring everything tighter to shore so they didn't have to run forever, and then it compacts it and makes it more concentrated, and you have a better shot at locating the fish if it's all together.
Well, watch this. Which side do most of these anglers, which way do they want the wind coming here?
Yeah, this southwest and light and variable is a pretty good window. It's a great fishing window for us. It's a pretty long run, so everyone's looking for this kind of light couple days, which we have and lucky to have for this tournament window.
Now, what size blue marlin would you say is a normal size for this area? Sometimes you go to Dominican Republic and you're catching 125s to 250s. And how about this area? I know you got those big bluefins and the yellowfins. What are you seeing here normally?
Yeah, it really seems to be that next class, that kind of 200, 250 and up. There's definitely some big blue girls, as you mentioned here, in our waters, which is cool to see. I was lucky enough to hook one last year in the tournament, but 5 hours later, it just came up with the head, and we got sharked.
I saw a picture of that. It wasn't pretty. I was talking to Damon Sacco, and he's talking about, 500 is not uncommon to be able to see some of those bigs. And they're looking for the blue marlin. You've got the whites. We've already seen those on there. We have yet to see a swordfish on the Sport Fishing Championship, and I said it's going to happen. I mean, I know nighttime fishing is typically where we would see that, but you were telling me even during the daytime, there's guys that are sword fishermen that'll do it even during the day.
Yeah, there's some really talented anglers and teams here who will dedicate all day today and tomorrow during the daytime hours to deep drop during the day. And it's a different, because it's an IGFA tournament, it's a little more complicated without electric reels, but they'll get it done, and I'm sure we'll see at least one sword on the scales tomorrow.
Yeah, I cut my teeth on the swordfish back in the day in 2006 or 7, and we caught some big fish. The first daytime drop was a 350, and we didn't know what we were doing. We're like, wow, this is pretty easy. Once you locate them, if you find the bait down there and you see the porpoises on the surface above those areas, we have the tendency to pretty much catch them like regularly. So if these guys want to like rack and stack some points on top of a blue marlin, on top of a white, what a great way to add points to your whole list.
Like Miss Wilder.
Definitely.
Right now. Did you see that? Did you hear that, Peter?
I did hear a catch alert for Miss Wilder.
We've got a 2 white marlin now for Miss Wilder. They got one early this morning, 8:40, I think maybe, or it was earlier than that. But now this is their second white marlin. So if they got into that pod, they can catch multiples.
That's right. And it looks like they're sitting right on the shelf there. And if they're into 2 white marlin, I think pretty much they're going to be staying in that area because they found a hot spot. It's not common to catch 2 billfish back to back like that. So that's pretty impressive. They're off to a great start.
8:25 and 8:50, I believe, is the unofficial times as far as that. What do you want? I know we were talking to Tim about that. Your objective as far as fishing here has to be a little bit different. We talked about 4 different event days, but you can only choose to fish 2 of them. You're going out the last 2 days, and you're kind of at a little detriment because that last day, instead of coming in at 5, you come in at 2. What goes behind these guys' decisions? Or do they go early? Do they go late? And especially you missing some hours.
Sure. Yeah, most of the boats, like you said, I think 90% left last night, 12:01, and they get a little more time, which is great. We're going Friday, Saturday schedule-wise for the whole boat, which will work out. We're excited about it. Kind of nice maybe to get a little bit of intel from a friend or two.
That's true.
Before we head out, so maybe we'll have that advantage versus the short 3 hours. So we'll see how it goes.
So you get on the Good Old Boy Network.
What not to do.
Yeah,
right. What not to do, where not to go.
Yeah.
That's really like a 50% shot.
I'm hoping.
Do I go left, right, this way, that way. So you're going to learn a lot over the next day or so.
See what happens.
You get on the Good Old Boy Network because I know radio range in certain areas. Are you going to be waiting for those guys basically coming in and get back on the radio, or are you able to talk to them throughout these first?
I think I'll have a text or 2 from a guy out there, which will be great. So looking forward to a couple of good friends, hopefully letting us know what didn't work, like you said, Peter.
Right, that always changes the game. I remember fishing a tournament in Palm Beach, and we were into them, we were crushing them, and all of a sudden it just stopped, and we got a call from a friend about 25 miles north, and it was so rough, and we looked at each other, we're like, are we going to do this 25-mile run to the north and just get beat up? And sure enough, we went up there, and we caught him. The guy was in him, and we wound up catching him, and we won the tournament because of that one phone call.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
good friends.
Yeah.
We heard Gypsy talking about the moon phase and how he's getting right. It was absolutely right probably last night. I mean, it was the full moon. How does that affect things up here and for you as an angler on how you approach this tournament?
Yeah, it always kind of seems like right on the full moon could be a little tough, but we're almost on the backside now, and that's usually pretty good. 2 before, 2 after seems to be kind of a good mix
up here. Because they're feeding at night, and generally that's the case?
Yeah, and maybe they wouldn't feed as much during the day because they came up for the full moon. So I think we're timing it pretty well with the backside of it, and it should be great.
Yeah, we find that the afternoons seem to be better after the full moon because the fish eat all night. They kind of get lay low and they kind of digest and they do their thing, and all of a sudden they get that energy back, and then they kick back into gear, and then they start eating again. So it might be like a later bite, but we've got a couple of whites. We got a blue marlin caught apparently, and those guys are right on the boundary there, on that 130-mile boundary, right on those, right in those canyons.
As far as the lures and the presentation stuff, we saw in some of our Gulf events they were using live bait. I mean, they were catching tuna, they were pitching out live baits. But here, the Ballyhoos, can you use live bait at all as far as the pitch baits, or is it everything like a ballyhoo that's been expired?
Yeah, everyone will pretty much use dead bait here. Pitch baits and trolling ballyhoo over skirts and things like that. Some spreader bars, and see how it all puts together.
See, these guys have a nice combination of everything we've seen throughout the year. You guys kind of do a little bit of everything. Everybody was a little different, but it sounds like this area combines like almost everything that we've seen, with the spreader bars. Are you guys, is green a big color up here? Do you guys use a lot of green?
Green's pretty good.
Green machines?
I asked him the same question yesterday. He's probably going, why is he saying green? Why would he do that? He said blacks, blues, greens. It didn't make any difference. You just try and find some of our championship fish. I don't think we're probably going to see a 200-pound yellowfin tuna by Invincible Boats here at this tournament, but our other two, mahi-mahi, we could see a 45 to 50 range mahi-mahi. If they've moved in, we are already hearing that there may be a wahoo. There's big wahoo here.
Yeah, there's definitely been some big wahoo caught. Damon, one of the tournament directors, like we talked about, he got a monster a couple years ago. So there's some big wahoo here that are state records for the area in the last couple of years. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think they were 1 pound under that world record out there. Hey, Tim, congratulations on the event, the smooth takeoff here out of McDougall's, and he'll actually get to take off tomorrow and fish the final 2 days of this tournament. The Oak Bluffs Blue Water Showdown. We're going to take a look ahead with Smith Optics. See, we're heading next. Again, we're at Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts, stop number 8 of 10 of the Sport Fishing Championship.
The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation is honored to be the official charity of the Sports Fishing Championship. Through this partnership and the support of donors like you, future generations will enjoy and benefit from a naturally balanced ocean ecosystem. Our education programs, both in the classroom and online, bring to life the work needed to make sure we have clean oceans for decades to come. Join us today at www.ghof.org.
Sometimes saying no can be really difficult. It's hard to set boundaries, to give yourself space and time. Upwater means never having to choose between having fun or missing out. A sparkling hop water full of flavor and packed with mood-boosting benefits that's non-alcoholic with no calories, no carbs, and no sugar. So go out there and get up to no good.
That's what I'm talking about. Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
When you're serious, you are as excited to wake up for a 4 a.m. fishing trip as you were when you were a kid. It means winning 3 World Sailfish Championships. It means you know what you need and what you don't. Being serious means seeking out the ultimate fishing machine, which is what Peter Miller has found in the unmatched handling, speed, and comfort of an Invincible.
It's the simple things, like spending a day at the beach, splashing in the water, playing in the sand, and creating sandcastle masterpieces. Rediscover fun and family on the beautiful white sand beaches of Gulf Shores and Orange Beach.
SFC coverage of the Oak Bluffs Blue Water Classic is sponsored by Invincible Boats, by Cypress Cove Marina, and by Salt Life.
Welcome back to the Cape of New England. It is an absolutely picture-perfect day. A temperature in the mid-70s. Water temp's been turning up, too, looking for that magic number of 75. And it's actually feeling like it's 75 here at the Oak Bluffs Blue Water Classic, the 8th stop of the Sport Fishing Championship.
Hey, Robbie, let's take a look at Southern Charm. Let's take a
Let's
look
do
back.
that. Let's do that. They're one of our contending teams for the Sport Fishing Championship title that we will crown 1 month from now in Puerto Rico. Third in championship points, them, Moncherie, Quantified, a couple teams to look for. Southern Charm, though, really strong, starting off with a third-place finish at the LGCBC event. 4 Blue Marlin to kick it off. That's what they really wanted to see. Moncherie took the win there, but a top 3, multiple Blue Marlin. The catch points will continue throughout the season. The more catch points, they just keep totaling and keep adding up, Peter.
Robbie, I can't talk about catch points when I'm seeing a giant marlin coming out of the water like that in Glasscom water. It's just too exciting for me. And that one fish at the transom we saw a second ago was absolutely gigantic. It had to be 500-600 pounds.
Yeah, they backed it up with a third-place finish at Orange Beach as well with a couple of blues, and that put them in the position to win this title of the Sport Fishing Championship. Let's take a look ahead with Smith Optics, the Texas International Fishing Tournament coming up next on August 6th. We're going to my neck of the woods. We're going down to the bottom of the
neck
state
of the woods,
Texas.
nape of the way, as Chevy Chase would say, and that fishery right now is alive and well. They're catching a ton of fish. I heard one boat had 17 marlin on a specific day, on a single day. So listen,
may or may not have been quantified.
May not. I don't want to spread any rumors. Everything's officially unofficial, as Robbie likes to say.
The Tipped event is a big event down in the south, no question. Over 100 boats will be taking off from South Padre Island down near the Texas-Mexico border. Peter, here at Martha's Vineyard, this event's a big one for the New England. I mean, it's a top event. We see that with the numbers of boats that head out, but also the quality of fish. In talking with Tim, they're not dinks. These are not small fish they're out there trying to catch, whether it be a wahoo, a tuna, or the blue marlin.
That's right, Robbie. You know, this fishery up here, you're going to find giant blue marlin. You're going to find giant bluefin tuna. You're going to have the big yellow fins mixed in with the big eyes, and then you also have the white marlin, and then you got the wahoo mixed in, and maybe you're going to run across a big mahi. That's what we're looking to we're trying to get that championship fish, that mahi. We're trying to up that number.
Absolutely.
You know, we have a 206-pound yellowfin tuna, which is beautiful, and a very huge fish, giant sickle fins, gorgeous, but the mahi right now is at 40 pounds. We'd like to see a 50, 60, maybe a 70-pounder.
Yeah, and as Tim mentioned, the tournament director, Damon Sacco, he caught, and you looked at me the other day like, oh, no. I mean, like almost I was lying to you. I think it was a 180-pound wahoo. 180-pound wahoo.
That is just unbelievable. You know, they caught a 130-pounder yesterday in Fiji, and I watched this guy try to hold it up, and he couldn't even get this thing. He had both his fists into the gills, and he had the head over his head. The tail was still on the floor. It looked like a giant sausage. It looked like a fake fish. Didn't even look real, like he bought it at the store, like one of those body pillows.
But again, there are big fish here, and we've talked about the different varieties. I know the big eye tuna, it's not one of our championship fish. The bluefin tuna are not, but we do have a tuna in our championship division. Let's take a look at our championship division. 3 different classifications, Peter, we're going to be looking at, and the winner of each one of these divisions will win a $50,000 check at the end of the season. Whoever has the biggest fish throughout, whether it be a wahoo, a mahi-mahi, or that Invincible Boats yellowfin tuna.
It can all boil down to that gaff shot at the side of the boat, because that's when you lose those big fish and people make mistakes. So you want the guy on the gaff sharp.
These are the big ones. Corrales, Maricela Echeverria from Punta Cana, 73.8 pounds. But I'm telling you, they've caught 100-pound heavier at this tournament before. And Castafari, I believe, was the boat.
I've never seen anything quite like it. The biggest one I ever caught was about 70, 80 pounds, and I practically had a heart attack when I saw that thing surface next to the boat like a submarine.
Team MG, Angel DePaloa, Orange Beach, Alabama, 40-pounder. That's a big bull that he caught out there. I think even last year a 40-plus had been caught. Are they moving in? That's going to be the big question.
All right, and next up we've got our yellowfin, which is just in time. They caught that one just in time. This is the biggest one they've ever caught for that particular boat. Beautiful sickle fins, 206 pounds on second wind.
Yeah, Biloxi, Mississippi, 206, and don't count out that .9. It could make the difference.
We've set the mark, the SFC Invincible Boats Yellowfin Tuna. We're on team second wind with the owner Mitch and the angler Drew. You guys caught the biggest yellowfin tuna, 206 pounds. Tell me about it a little bit.
And it was the first afternoon, and literally we hadn't been fishing too long. Just got baits out probably 30 minutes at where we're at the rig we were fishing, and got the bite. Probably fought him 45 minutes or so. Got him up, and Jason, the other mate on the leader, he looked at it and said, "It's a big one," and he's seen plenty of big ones in his day. And he said that, we knew, all right, it's going to be a good one. Drew is a very seasoned angler, so he definitely knows how to reel in fish. And when we saw this fish really giving him a hard time, we said, it's got to be a good one. And we were really elated when it came up. And we saw it. It was like when he came in the boat, it was like, wow, you know, it's the biggest one we've ever caught as a team together and in my lifetime. And it definitely, you know, it's definitely something we're going to work towards trying to top. But, I mean, we're happy with it for now and very happy with the outcome.
It's obviously good when there's 180, 190-pound yellowfins coming in and it doesn't touch what y'all did. You broke the record for the Mississippi event. Y'all will definitely get the prize pool for that fish, but you also are in the running now. Set the bar for that $50,000 Sport Fishing Championship bonus at the end of the year for the Invincible Boats Yellowfin Tuna. A lot of money for just about 45 minutes of work.
That's right. Yeah, we're excited. Hopefully it holds.
Team Second Wind, the biggest yellowfin tuna at the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic.
And $50,000 is a lot, especially when you're doing what you're trying to be doing anyway, and that's win this tournament. That is a massive yellowfin tuna by Invincible Boats. I did want to point out Damon Sacco. It was his boat that caught it. It was Derek Whit-Campert back in 2016, a 182-pound wahoo. So I wanted to give Derek some props because he's the one that actually caught this fish. There's our Garmin team spotter, and we see a lot of teams hanging around that drop-off. Now, which side of it is their preference, right? I mean, they might want to be on the shelf. They might want to be straight over it.
Well, it looks like it's right in the center. I'm looking at Miss Wilder. I'm looking at Lights Out. They both have marlin under the belts, and we've got another catch alert.
This is throughout the day, our catch alerts from this morning, starting off with Gypsy, that yellowfin tuna. We were so happy to see that, you know, right off the bat. And if it takes 4 or 5 hours to run out to those spots, they really caught them pretty early.
Oh, it's worth it to make those long runs knowing that it's going to pay off. I mean, you stop short and try to get one under your belt, it could be a tough pill to swallow.
Was about 6 fish caught before the 8 o'clock hour. You see another yellowfin offsite Gypsy, a multiple big-eye tuna. We heard that T0 had 6 hooked up at a time. That could be one to look for. You see, caught a yellowfin tuna early this morning, but they had 6 fish on at one time.
Robbie,
things could get crazy.
I told you last week, the best thing to do is get every bait eaten, all 6 fish hooked up, then you don't have to clear anything. Just fight your fish, bring them to the boat. That's the way to do it.
You're going to be messing with that bird's nest when we get back. You see offside had a caught wahoo. Will it be a big one here at 8:40? This afternoon, we're going to be talking about it more. We're going to be talking about all the fish catches. Peter, I am so happy to see and hear those sounds on the Sport Fishing Championship. They are catching them today.
And that sun on your face is just extraordinary.
Oh,
you're glowing
so
like
good.
an angel.
5 p.m. Eastern, sportfishingchampionship.com. Peter and I will be back here at McDougall's, the Sport Fishing Championship. Stop number 8. We're glad you can be a part of it. We're glad to be a part of it on site with Site 1 here today, Peter.
You're not kidding. And finishing up with its scene with a blue marlin next to the boat, you got to absolutely love it. They are majestic, they are gigantic, and they are fierce.
And they're out there in the Atlantic. We've already had our blue marlin caught so far.
Yeah, baby.
There's one big fish.
Nice, nice. Nice, nice.
Be careful, be careful.
A day out on the water could go great. Or it could have a few minor setbacks. Things could get rough. Or you could lose that $900 smartphone. Whatever the problem, Yugo provides unmatched premium protection for any water sports adventure. Yugo. To get yours, visit YugoWear.com or simply scan the QR code on the screen. And remember, just add water.
Some call it joie de vie, the joy of life. In Louisiana, it's our way of life. From music that shakes up your senses to food that wakes up your palate. That joy vibrates in every note we play and spices up every meal we serve. So come live life to the fullest. Come one, come y'all, come feed your soul in Louisiana. I'm Sean Ardway, inviting you to plan your trip at louisianatravel.com.
So, you want this, but you can't have it without this, or this, or this. Until now, introducing a new way to travel, intranationally. Get all that international charm without ever leaving the country. Right here in St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Get all that culture, all the cuisine from that culture. You're welcome. All the gram-worthy sites from that hashtag culture. It's right here at home. St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Travel intranationally.
it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
Yeah, baby! That's what I'm talking about! Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
When it comes to performance, comfort, and functionality, we've got you covered. Performance apparel designed by anglers to make your time on the water better than ever. Salt Life, the official apparel sponsor of the Sport Fishing Championship.